Hey founder, let me ask you something. Have you had the following where just when you thought life was working for you, just when you thought you had everything under control, something unexpected happens and then your whole life gets turned upside down? For example, you were saving for something nicely or for someone else, and then you get a big fine on your doorstep. Or a competitor of who you thought they would never pull out a big marketing stunt, they could never launch 20, 30 products at one time and then overtake the whole market, does the exact same thing that you were scared of. And to be honest, that's oftentimes is happening, right? When you thought that, for example, you were doing a very proper workout, you were very following a proper diet, but you knew somehow, the things were not working for you. The diet was not working for you yet, just because someone else said so, it was a good diet, you kept following them without even questioning. And this is exactly the moment where the ego gets slapped in the face and we get humbled back to where we have to start questioning ourselves. And it has to do all with one thing: ignorance. And ignorance is the moment or the phenomena where people actually stop learning, they stop questioning other people, they stop challenging themselves, they just stop questioning and living life. And what I often see with founders is the following two patterns. The first one is people follow blindly, right? People follow people. That's a very common thing, except that they never, there are two camps on this side, right? There are the people who never question anyone. They never think outside of the box. They believe that whatever they think is the single point of truth, and it's very impossible to anything beyond that, right? And we all know how that ends, right? There's just no way of having even an honest discussion because they're so fed up with themselves that they think whatever I say is correct. It's the only point of truth, and it's very difficult to turn their heads and even give a new opinion or a bright perspective. Then there is the other camp, which is perhaps even more dangerous, is the people who think they don't exhibit this behavior, yet they do the exact same thing, except they just maybe are following better or more intelligent brands or persona online, right? For example, you probably have a friend or multiple friends where they keep repeating something that they saw in the internet, and it makes them look smart, but in reality they're just repeating someone else's words. And sure, even though it may be beneficial for your life, what they think from themselves is they come up with the idea, and this happens subconsciously, but they actually believe that what they're saying is, again, the single point of truth, and that it's their idea, and that they're super, this is really their big revelation. So, which is not wrong, right? People often, repeat other people. They regurgitate other people's words. They copy other people's text. They make the same marketing. They do the same images. They do the same strategy. There is nothing wrong with copying other people. Just know for yourself that if you exhibit this behavior, maybe you need to look down and say, okay, maybe this is not my idea, but let's take the essential or the essence, what I think is true, and then still question whether that is the only point of truth that there is, right? Because the other one, right, the other pattern that I see in founders is that they often draw too fast conclusions, right? They think that, okay, one business model, for example, didn't work, and they pivot the whole business. Or, for example, one diet didn't work, and then they think, okay, this diet doesn't work, let's do something else. Well, in reality, maybe your data set is incomplete. Maybe you just haven't done enough reps to actually, draw any useful conclusions. Because the domain of what you don't know is so much bigger than the domain that that you do know, that it is actually might be far more helpful to either ask for other people's opinions, question yourself, okay, has the strategy that I've been working on, has it been correctly, on what is it based, which data points do I have, which data points am I still missing, how do other people do it, and then don't draw conclusions too fast, because maybe you just need to do a little bit, few more reps in order to get enough data points to actually make a very good conclusion. Now, the thing is, when you think that you know everything, right? When you think that you know it all, this is exactly when the universe sets you back in your place. Because maybe you think, okay, I have the best strategy, I have the best diet, I know how to train, right? I know how to run my business, but this is exactly when the universe, humbles you back. You think that you have your business under control, wait until there comes a big recession, or maybe wait until one of your employees or colleagues gets a burnout, right? Let's see how big of a control freak you actually are. Or for example, you think that you are in integrity with yourself. The universe will put out tests for you to see, okay, how honest are you? Can you keep your loyalty around your romantic relationships, your friendships, maybe your colleagues, maybe your business partners, right? The universe will always give you the right test to test, how ignorant you actually are. So if you ask for, okay, or if you say, I am always in integrity with myself, I am always loyal. Well, you cannot really say that until you have proven yourself, or someone has put you to the test where you actually have proved that this is one of the core values that you exhibit. Or if you say that you have your business under control, well, of course, if everything goes super smooth, if there are never any issues, then that doesn't necessarily mean that you have your business under control or that you have everything under control. There just weren't enough challenges for you to actually, prove your point. So I think it's very important that for us as founders that we, even though things are working for us, or if we hear, see, listen, or read something smart someone else said, instead of just blindly copying what other people say, start questioning themselves. Start challenging them, start questioning yourself. Try to think outside of the box. Like, okay, how can this possibly go different? Well, what are the caveats in this case? Or what are some blind spot that other people might not see that I could see, right? And that is, I think, the most important thing in life, is where you have to start questioning and challenging yourself in order to grow. Because the moment where you stop, when you stay ignorant, when you stop learning, when you stop challenging yourself, this is the point where you get stagnant, right? You stop growing. And then what happens is, okay, you start blaming other people, right? Everyone but yourself. You're saying, oh, the market conditions have changed, the product doesn't work anymore, the competitors are rising. I know they are just, telling or speaking some BS, right? What I'm thinking is the only point of truth, and that's where the whole cycle repeats itself. So what I would like to give to you back is try to challenge yourself, try to think outside of the box, and try to be more open-minded, because like I said, the domain of what you don't know is so much bigger than what you know already. So on that note, I would like to conclude this week's lesson. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this. Maybe you recognize yourself in one of the patterns. I surely have, where I thought for a long time, the training pattern I was doing, or maybe I was doing a very good training routine, or a very good diet routine, or a very good sleeping routine. At some point I noticed, okay, this is actually not working for me, yet I have also never tried anything else, right? So if you know something is not working, if you think that someone is, even though this is a very famous persona or a very notorious person or whatever, they can still be, I wouldn't say lying, but they can still hide some truth, right? They also are just humans. They also make mistakes, right? So just don't blindly follow what other people say. Try to actually think for yourself, because that's how you become a thought leader, and that's how you become wise yourself. You learn from other people's patterns, so you learn from other people's behaviors, you learn from your own behaviors, and that's where you start growing. You start expanding, and that's where real growth starts to become more visible. So once again, thanks for watching for this week. I hope you like it, and then see you in the next one. Ciao.